folks. Today I want to talk about the impact that you bring into the room, especially when it comes to your energy. So the fundamental piece here is that the more empowering energy you bring to the table, especially when it comes to the dynamics of your team and the people that you are working with, also your family, the more successful you will be and the more wins that you will have. So we as human beings have a natural energy that we carry around with us. And it's not just our personality and our behavior. There's an energetic element to it too that is tied to who we are as a human being, but also the emotions that we carry and we project. So if you heard any of my past episodes on emotions, they are essentially two things. They are energy and they are information. So every time you have an emotion, you are sharing energy with whoever is in the room around you or whoever you're speaking to, whether it's on the phone or in person, as well as information. That's essentially what emotions do. But let's just say we put emotions out of it. You as a human being, I as a human being, every one of us as living beings have a unique energy that we carry around with us. And we have to be aware of that energy and what it does to other people. So does your energy ultimately empower the people around you, or does it disempower the people around you? So this is very evident in many situations that I observe where the leader might come in, or a particular individual might come into the room, let's just say a boardroom, and the energy of the people around the boardroom completely changes. For some people, when they walk into a room, the people have a higher level of energy. For others, when they enter the room, the collective energy of the group drops. And this is very, very important from a performance standpoint, because the more collective energy that your team has, the more likely you are to have higher performance and ultimately win. If we relate this to a sports team, let's just keep it simple. The sports team with the higher energy is going to be able to perform better. So two teams performing against each other, if team A has way more energy than team B, team A is far more likely to win, because performance requires energy. Thinking requires energy. Decision making requires energy. In fact, it requires a lot of energy. Action requires energy. So your team as a collective, the greater the energy, the higher the energy, the better they will perform. And it's really uncanny what happens when that energy is high versus when that energy is low. So the thing to pay attention to is just to do a check-in with yourself. What kind of energy do you carry? Are you aware of your own energy? Do you know what happens when you walk into the room? How do people respond to you and react to you? Not just based on your behavior, but just when you walk into the room. Some people have this high level of energy where other people get immediately enthusiastic. Other people, when they walk into the room, people are just completely quiet or they're intimidated. So the question I have for you, and I'm just going to ask you to take a few moments of silence, is what is your natural energy? Yes, that was a purposeful pause there. For me, my natural energy is typically calmness, but also intensity. Those are my two natural energies. So because of the nature of the work that I do, I'm doing a lot of work with CEOs, and we're talking about a lot of high stakes situations and challenges that can become really emotional. I have to make sure that there's a level of calmness within the room and those interactions so that we can actually think clearly and so that we can actually strategize. The other side, though, is I'm extremely intense. I'm not jumping around type of intense, but I'm extremely intense in terms of let's get this stuff done, let's get it done right, and let's put 110% passion behind it. So that's my natural energy. I'm sure there's other elements as well that come into play. But I am also aware for those people, for example, that don't know me very well, when I walk into a room, I've been told that it can be somewhat intimidating because I'm very intense, because I observe people very deeply and try to integrate their emotions and feelings. So I don't do a lot of talking all the time. I do more listening. And for some people, that can be intimidating. So I have to be very conscious of that. And that's not based on behavior. That's also an energetic component. So the key thing here is that we need to be aware of our default energy, our baseline energy, but also be able to shift our energy to match the situation. So it also has to be situational, because I can't always walk into a room being intense. That's not very effective. So I have to consciously shift my energy before I enter the room to ensure that I'm projecting the right energy and other people are absorbing the right energy. The key also is that we do absorb energy from each other. Let's just use a simple example. When you sit next to a negative person and they're talking negative stuff, how do you feel? Most likely, you are either going to be feeling annoyed, or you're going to be brought down yourself, or something changes inside of you where your energy actually drops. Or you become defensive and you have to put up this barrier to block this person's energy. So that's what happens when it comes to energy. So to wrap this up, to summarize this, there's a few key elements here that are very important. First of all, what is your default energy? What is your baseline energy? And ask yourself this question. Is it empowering for the majority of cases? Secondly, can you change that default energy situationally when you need to adapt to new situations? Because that default energy may not be applicable and it might not be the right type of energy for every single situation. You don't want to walk into a funeral where everybody else is sad and be the happiest person on earth, because that's not going to exactly get you brownie points with everybody else there. So that's the other part. That last part is, what is the collective energy of your team? The greater the collective energy, the higher their performance and likelihood of winning. And so this is very important when it comes to identifying other people's natural energy as well. I have a rule of thumb. If I have a natural energy drainer on my team, they are no longer on my team. We'll work with them for a little bit, especially if they're going through some tough situations. And, not everybody and every person's life is perfect. So people go through things. People have mental health challenges. People have situations in their life which they can't easily overcome. So our job as leaders is to help them get through that. But if they continue to bring the collective energy down, then it's time to make a decision, because everybody's job, everybody's role is to bring the collective energy up. That's essentially it. Everybody should be bringing everybody else up. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't bring up negative points, or let's just say critical points. That's not what I'm talking about, because there are people out there that can also be critical, can challenge, but they don't bring the energy down. For those individuals who are, let's just say, cynics, and they constantly bringing things, putting holes in people's ideas, but they're also doing it in a way that brings the energy down, they are not the right type of people. So to sum it up, keep your energy high, be aware of your baseline energy, change your energy where it's needed, and keep your team's energy high. And that is based on the people that you have on your team. Do not hesitate to replace people, or be very, diligent in terms of making sure that people are keeping their energy high. It's ultimately going to help your team win. That's the bottom line. Energy creates performance.